Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. If you're not subscribed to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube, go ahead, do that right now. Hit that subscribe button below. Also be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. On today's show, I want to preview the big recruiting weekend that is expected for the Crimson Tide. I also get an opportunity to speak with the father of Alabama's 2022 four-star defensive end target, Kenyatta Jackson. I will get that opportunity to talk with Kenyatta Jackson Sr. later in the program. But before I dive into the big recruiting weekend that is set to happen in Tuscaloosa on this weekend and talk with Kenyatta Jackson Sr., I do want to hit you guys with some recruiting updates as always, and I'm going to roll right into those updates by talking about the Crimson Tide's 2022 five-star quarterback commit Ty Simpson. I had an opportunity to talk with his dad, Jason Simpson, recently, and he told me that Ty looks bought into what Alabama has as a football team and as a culture. Their family recently took a visit to Tuscaloosa, and he told me that Ty showed plenty of signs that he was going to be a great ambassador for the program in the future. He got an opportunity to talk with the Crimson Tide's head men's basketball coach Nate Oates during a dinner. It actually happened when Nate Oates came into that particular dinner with a couple of basketball recruits, and Ty actually left his family, went and introduced himself to the head coach, and also got an opportunity to talk with those recruits that were with Coach Oates. So you could tell that he has bought into the entire culture of Alabama football and Alabama athletics. If you guys want to know a little bit more about Ty Simpson's commitment to the Crimson Tide at the moment, you guys can check out that interview in a story over at touchdownalabama.com. It is a subscriber only article. Be sure to pick up your subscription to touchdownalabama.com today. The Crimson Tide also recently got an opportunity to host a couple of different recruits. One of those guys they hosted recently is four-star defensive end DERRICK LeBlanc out of Florida. He is expected to be one of the top defensive ends in the 2023 recruiting class. He got an opportunity to speak with Nick Saban during this particular visit. Saban actually told him that he was going to be one of their top targets in the 2023 recruiting class. Said that they were going to recruit him pretty hard in that particular recruiting cycle, that they wanted to make him an Alabama player in the future. He is definitely a prospect Alabama fans need to know in that 2023 recruiting class. Holds more than 40 Division I offers at the moment. He will definitely be one of the top defensive ends in that 2023 recruiting class. Alabama looks to be in a good position with the Florida product at the moment. The Crimson Tide are also extending new offers. One of their more recent offers went out to a 2024 defensive back in EMMETT MOSLEY out of California, an athletic prospect who could play wide receiver or defensive back at the next level. With his frame, he could be a lengthier player. I think Alabama really likes defensive backs with length. That is what Nick Saban is going for and going after at the moment. So he is a prospect that you can look at from two different positions, from that defensive back position, from that wide receiver position. He said he was blessed to get an offer from Alabama. Told me that it was kind of crazy since it was a team that he watched on TV. Talked about his conversation with Nick Saban in an interview over at touchdownalabama.com. Be sure to check out that one as well. The Crimson Tide also got an opportunity to host one of their top in-state 2023 targets and five-star defensive back, JAHLIL HURLEY out of Florence High School in Florence, Alabama. This kid stands at 6'3". Like I said earlier, Nick Saban is going after defensive backs with length and you have a guy like JAHLIL HURLEY, a five-star talent inside of the state, you know Alabama is going to push for him hard. Got an opportunity to talk with him about his recent visit to Tuscaloosa. Said it acted as sort of a learning experience, just getting an opportunity to learn a couple of things from Nick Saban, learn about the program, of course. You guys can check out more on my interview with JAHLIL HURLEY over at touchdownalabama.com as well. But now I am going to switch gears here to the Crimson Tide's upcoming big recruiting weekend. They are set to host a long list of important targets in the 2022 recruiting class, along with some interesting targets in the 2023 recruiting class as well, starting with 5-star quarterback Arch Manning. You did hear that right, last name Manning, and you know that name carries weight in the football world. He is the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, the grandson of Archie Manning, so you know that he has that football running in his blood. He is a special quarterback in the 2023 recruiting class, has taken a couple of different visits during the month of June. Alabama will get an opportunity to show what their program offers during his visit to Tuscaloosa on this weekend. They will also host a couple of official visitors in the 2022 recruiting class, starting with 5-star offensive tackle Zach Rice. Alabama signed 2 of the top offensive tackles in the 2021 recruiting class when they got signatures from Tommy Brockermeyer and J.C. Latham. Can Nick Saban and Alabama do it again? The first step in them doing that would be having a good visit with Zach Rice on this weekend. He's a prospect to definitely look out for. They will also host Isaiah Bond, a 3-star athlete out of Bruford High School in Bruford, Georgia. JAHLIL Skinner, a 4-star tight end, one of the top tight ends in the 2022 recruiting class. Looks a lot like a wide receiver. Of course, Alabama does have a commitment from 4-star tight end Elijah Brown, but they do want to add another tight end to this particular recruiting class. JAHLIL Skinner is one of their top tight end targets remaining, along with guys like 4-star tight end Oscar Depth. 2 guys Alabama will battle it out for moving forward here in this 2022 recruiting cycle. So Crimson Tide and Alabama football will have a busy weekend in Tuscaloosa. A lot of talent headed to town, including Bryce Anderson, another name that you see here, a 4-star defensive back out of Louisiana who was once committed to LSU. He will take in the University of Alabama on this weekend, along with a couple of other interesting 2023 targets. Guys, you can talk about another guy you can talk about is Yanze Pierre, a 2023 defensive end out of Eufaula High School in Eufaula, Alabama. So I think Alabama fans should definitely be excited for what is expected in Tuscaloosa on this weekend. But now we are going to turn our attention to my guest. We now have on the line Kenyatta Jackson Sr., the father of one of Alabama's top 2022 defensive end targets in Kenyatta Jackson Jr. We are so happy to have Kenyatta Jackson Sr. on today to talk about Kenyatta's first official visit, which was to the University of Alabama earlier this month on June 4th. How's it going, Mr. Jackson?
I'm great. Yourself?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to speak with you today on the process. And the first question I really wanted to ask you was that Kenyatta took an official visit to Alabama on June 4th. This was his first official visit since the recruiting dead period came to an end on June 1st. What was it about Alabama that made him want to visit Alabama first? Was there a reason Alabama was the first school to get an official visit?
No, because it was kind of like awkward because Alabama wasn't even the top 3 visits. So what I did was one of the coaches for Alabama, which is Coach G, me and him were talking, and everything took flight from there. And I ended up setting it up myself. And then when I set it up, I told Junior, I think you should get Alabama an opportunity because you got the legendary head coach, Nick Saban. Then you got the number 1 school in the country. And I think it's only right that you do give them a chance to visit. And, man, when we took that visit, Justin, man, it changed his mind instantly. It changed his mind. Everything, when I say it was like a red carpet event, the whole weekend while we were there, it was the red carpet event while we were there.
Yeah, and I know Alabama, like you said, rolls out the red carpet for some of his top targets, and Kenyatta is one of their top targets here in this 2022 recruiting class. As a parent, from a parent's perspective, were there any other things about that particular visit that really stood out to you?
Yes. And I told Nick Saban, I told the running back coach, I told the cornerback coach, I told the defensive line coach and the linebacker coach And the most thing that stood out with me personally is relationship. All of them have a relationship amongst each other as a staff. And that's something that I respect. That's something that I go highly of. And that's something that I live off of. Because I'm a parent of, when I send my son off, I want him to be in good hands, you know, and that goes way far ahead in life when it comes to relationship with other people that you don't even know and you want to get to know down the line as you continue to go to school or pursue an education.
Well, yeah, that is something that I've honestly heard from a couple of different recruits who I've interviewed over the last couple of weeks since the dead period ended. A lot of guys are talking about Alabama's coaching staff, the honesty that they are showing during these particular camps and visits. Just talked about how the relationship between the staff is really good. So that is something that I have heard from multiple recruits as well. But switching gears here, focusing it more on your son, what type of person do you feel a program is going to get in Kenyatta?
Well, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I can't answer that. But for as far as it starts on the home first, you know, that it starts on the basics, and then it continues from the basics until he go out and vent himself when he got to be alone at times. That's when you know that things should manifest in a way that a parent should want their kid to go in a positive way, in a positive manner, you know, and that's when you know that as parent, you'll know that you did a great job. And I'm pretty sure wherever school he go to, he will produce, he will proceed, and he will be successful in life.
Again, you said earlier that his mind instantly switched and went in a different direction when he got an opportunity to visit Alabama. After that visit, was there anything that he told you that he really liked?
When I asked him that question, Justin, he said everything. When I say everything, that go from the relationship, the love, action does speak louder than words. From the coaching standpoint to the staff, everything was like a real circle, and everything is in rotation, and it was nothing but positive energy and positive vibes.
Again, the last question I want to hit you with before we let you to go today, Mr. Jackson, was I know that you guys have to go to Oklahoma a little bit later this evening. He has a couple of other visits lined up as well. What is the future of his recruitment at the moment?
His other colleges that he's gonna visit is Oklahoma. We got Ohio State. And that's the furthest I know at the moment as far as officials. For unofficials, matter of fact, he just went back to Alabama this past weekend on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. He did Auburn, he did Florida State, he did Florida Gators, he did South Florida, Central Florida, he did HBCU, which is FAMU, Georgia State, and Georgia Tech this past weekend unofficial.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Jackson. We are so grateful that you joined us today on The Process. Thank you so much.
Hey, you have a good one, Justin. Thank you.
That will do it for this episode of The Process. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Also, be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles. Get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. Also get an opportunity to read our in-depth scouting reports on each side commit and each recruiting class. Then head over to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device or to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.